Hello beautiful people, how's it going? I'm back with another video, and it's been a while since I did a video talking about the Wizarding World and the Harry Potter community, and today I wanted to talk about Professor Snape. And I know I'm gonna die. I know the Harry Potter community is gonna absolutely shit on me if this video gets out, which I really don't think it will because we're just out here having a nice open and frank discussion, but Harry Potter cancel culture is a real thing, and something that really happens with a lot of the Harry Potter characters now that it's 2019 and everyone is woke and everybody wants to have an opinion about something. When the Deathly Hallows came out in 2007, everybody was rooting for Snape, everyone had Snape's back as a fictional character, and now people are outing him as an abusive, manipulative person. Now, he's not perfect, but this is my defense of Severus Snape.
Because we're beautiful. Future. Forever. My regular niffler.
Now, before we started this video, I just wanted to say I'm really open to hearing everybody's opinions about the Wizarding World. I mean, it's a platform in which people can voice their opinions and say if they like this book or didn't like that book or have certain feelings towards a certain character. But not once you cancel him and the actor playing Severus Snape, Alan Rickman, who died a couple of years back. I've been seeing some really horrible tweets towards J.K. Rowling when she defended him last year. I really don't know how I feel about that. So I wanted to make a video just talking about Snape as a character in the Harry Potter books and Snape as a character in the Harry Potter movies, and kind of shedding light on my opinions towards Snape and how I feel about the character, who I personally feel isn't perfect, but is flawed and was looking out for Harry, Ron, and Hermione for a lot of the time. And I strongly believe that that kind of redeems him in a way. I don't think that the entire thing with Lily redeems him in any way, but everything that led after that, and the reveal of obviously him being aligned with Dumbledore and betraying Voldemort, which a lot of people weren't doing at the time, I think that kind of redeems him, but we'll get into the nitty-gritty once I start breaking down the films and the movies. If you're not already, please subscribe to my channel and follow me on all of my social media so we can get connected. A lot of you guys have been contacting me on Instagram recently, and it's just been making me very happy. So thank you guys if you guys are watching. If any of you were the people who contacted me saying they loved my videos, it means a lot. So I've been rewatching the Harry Potter movies movie by movie once every 2 days, and right now we're on the Goblet of Fire. As I've been rewatching these movies, I've tried to look at this from a different lens, and looking at it from a different lens, I can only find more evidence to justify Snape as a convoluted yet lovable and flawed character. In Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, I never noticed how much Snape was gunning after Professor Quirrell because he knew something was wrong. At that time, he was already working with Dumbledore to try and kind of help make sure Voldemort doesn't rise again, and that in itself is a reason to redeem Severus Snape. Also, he was saving Harry in his first Quidditch match, and he was the one trying to protect the stone from Professor Quirrell. And I think that says a lot. Even though he didn't actually like Harry or Ron and Hermione, he was protecting them. In Chamber of Secrets, he doesn't have a huge role. He's still out there lurking, and he's obviously still out there bullying children. So there's nothing much I can say about that, and there's no way I can defend him in that retrospect. But then in Prisoner of Azkaban, this is the one that really changed everything for me. In Prisoner of Azkaban, Snape and Dumbledore have this conversation about making sure Harry is safe from Sirius Black. And it's instigated by Professor Snape. That's a big deal. Let's say Snape doesn't care about Harry. He still kind of wants him to stay alive. And keep in mind, in Deathly Hallows Part 2, when it's revealed that Snape was working for Dumbledore, he refuses the idea of having to kill Harry in the end. As he said, you've been raising him like a pig for slaughter. And that's something that he disagrees with. And that was something that Dumbledore was pushing. Then once again, in Prisoner of Azkaban, Snape is the one to save Harry, Ron, and Hermione in the Shrieking Shack, which is something that never crossed my mind, because every time I read the book or watched that scene, I'd just be thinking about the explosions in my head from learning about Peter Pettigrew, Remus Lupin, Sirius Black's innocence, all of it. But Snape was the one who came and saved them when Lupin turned into a werewolf after Harry disarmed him and in the movie threw him against a wall. Over all of that, Snape was still protecting them when he really didn't have to. He could have just left the scene. Obviously, he was doing it for the greater good, but in that specific moment, he was defending the kids from imminent danger. And he was onto Lupin from the start because he thought it was dangerous to have a werewolf teach lessons, which is why he taught the class, arguably to make sure Hermione found out that he was a werewolf. It's genius. And quite frankly, I support Snape in that moment. There is the scene in the classroom when Hermione is explaining herself to Professor Snape about, where the difference between a werewolf and an animagus and all of that. And Snape removes 5 points from Gryffindor because he feels that Hermione was cutting and ruining his train of thought or whatever. He's not really wrong. When people watch that scene, obviously they're supposed to get triggered. They're supposed to feel for Hermione because she's just a student who wants to learn and to share knowledge with the rest of her class. However, he has a solid point. And if it was any other student, arguably, but not Draco Malfoy, he would have done the same. In Prisoner of Azkaban, once again, this is the real kicker here and the real controversy. Neville Longbottom claims that his biggest fear is Severus Snape. As a person who has dealt with horrible teachers in my lifetime, thankfully not the end of my school and beginning of uni life, but early on as a child, I know what it's like to be terrified of a teacher. And it's never okay. And that is one thing that I can't defend Snape on. It's not okay to bully kids. It's not okay to make kids feel like they hate school. It's not okay to ridicule them and to make them do things that they don't want to do in class. It's heartbreaking, and that is just one side of Severus Snape that I can't defend. Moving on to Order of the Phoenix, when Snape literally trains Harry to block out Lord Voldemort's thoughts. I know he was asked by Dumbledore to do this, but he didn't have to go out of his way to take Harry into his office and just continuously teach him while Harry is fighting back. That's just an act of protection to protect the world from everything that's about to go down. And then in Order of the Phoenix, we find out that James Potter was actually an asshole to Severus Snape, and he was a bully, and he was I can't even get that much into it without getting very frustrated because I don't believe in bullying and I don't believe in anyone making anyone feel like shit. And of course, I've talked about this in my Stranger Things video when they tried to justify Billy being a racist and an asshole by just giving him a redemption arc. It doesn't work. And it doesn't work with Snape, but you can kind of see why he has so much hatred towards Harry. I personally feel like it wasn't due to the way he viewed Lily. It was more due to the fact that his dad was a total douchebag who never gave him a break, who made him feel like total ass for his entire Hogwarts life. This guy, Snape, was just staying out of his way, doing nothing, and James continuously tried to come on to him time and time again. Yes, Snape was horrible to Lily. He said a couple of hurtful things, which I will not get into for the sake of not getting roasted on YouTube. But he said not nice things. None of it is justified. But once again, you kind of see a double-sided personality with him. And it's not necessarily something you can justify, but it's at least something that you can see and appreciate. Then, with Half-Blood Prince, it's taken me a long time to come to this realization and to just accept it. Dumbledore was the one who asked Snape to kill him because Dumbledore didn't want Draco Malfoy to have to kill a person. He was asked to, and Snape didn't want to do it. He literally, there's a line in the movie, and I don't know if it was in the book because I can't remember, where he says, "Has it ever occurred to your genius mind that I don't want to do this anymore?" And I remember that word for word because I watched Half-Blood Prince weeks before I started watching all of them. Snape didn't want to do any of this, and yet he was brave enough to do it, which I'll get to Bravest Man I Ever Knew later. Snape, this entire series, was brave enough to come forward and to do things that he was literally forced to do. He was taking actions in which he knew people were going to hate him, people were going to figure out the truth and exile him from Hogwarts or his job or the wizarding world at large. And he was doing it. He was doing it for Dumbledore, he was doing it for Malfoy, and he was doing it for the greater good of the world. And then finally in Deathly Hallows, when we figure out that James was in love with Lily Potter, this justifies nothing. I think this was put into the story to kind of show you that he had a tragic backstory. Doesn't justify any of his actions. I completely agree with that point. It doesn't justify any of it, but it puts it into perspective. The real things that justify everything Snape did was the parts where you realize he was having conversations with Dumbledore, having agreements with Dumbledore, that he was going to risk his entire life to protect everyone in the Wizarding world against Voldemort, and at the same time act as a double agent to him so he can get information. He was the one who sent the Sword of Gryffindor to Harry. He stole it out of Gringotts and sent it to Harry. That's a big deal. Imagine getting called out by Bellatrix. I wouldn't want to do it. And honestly, I don't know if I would. But he was. He was out here. This guy was out here doing the most when no one else was. Honestly, honest to God. Now on the very last topic, when it comes to the bravest man I've ever known and Harry naming his child Albus Severus Potter. He wasn't naming him after Snape because he respected him. He was naming James after Snape because Snape was the bravest man he'd ever known. That's something that a lot of fans misread. Once the reveal of Lily came out, everyone was in shock in that retrospect, but everyone kind of looked over the fact that Snape was the one who was protecting Harry from everything, and Snape was the one who was having to make very hard decisions. You can argue he was forced into it, you can argue that he was doing it by choice, and you can argue that he's always been wishy-washy with which side he leaned on, but I think he was with Dumbledore the entire time. And I think that's pretty much all I have to say. Alright guys, that was my video on my defense of Snape. It's raining outside, so the sun's almost gone, but my ring light is giving me all of the positive energy that I need to have made this video. It was a lot of fun. Yep, I'm really sorry I haven't been uploading lately. Uni's getting the best of me, and they gave us a day off today. So I'm buzzing, and I'm filming. But thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave me a like and a comment down below, and subscribe to my channel to see a lot more Harry Potter content. Because I'm going to be defending Dumbledore and Draco Malfoy very soon. And I'm excited for the explosion that it's going to cause. Bye, guys.